Hello, this is the Journey Told podcast, and I'm your host, Sean Zanotti. I believe life is about the journey, not the destination. To find the journey in every step of the road, the highs and lows, the twists and turns, the ups and downs. It's in those moments that is beautiful. Our guest today has a journey of her own. It's Samantha Gibson. She's a graduate from the University of Georgia with her bachelor's degree in psychology, a minor in women's studies, and her master's in clinical social work. Her background in the community ranges from everything dealing with mentoring to work with sex trafficking and domestic violence. Most people have become familiar with Samantha publicly for marrying actor and singer Tyrese Gibson. She's a mother to a beautiful toddler, a Christian woman who hosts a popular weekly Bible study, and a fitness influencer. Please help me welcome Samantha to the show. Samantha, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell me just kind of how has it been in your world? How have you been adjusting to life right now in the midst of COVID?
It has been COVID has taken me on quite a ride. It's been a lot of different things that I've had to get used to, things that have changed in my life. So, I mean, it's been a spiritual journey. If anything, it's been a spiritual journey.
And when you talk about the spiritual journey, is it more of the fact that no one knew that obviously COVID was going to occur? It hit, and then here we are, and how do you maneuver through?
I was in Los Angeles at the time, and I don't have any family in Los Angeles. And so, obviously at the time, my spouse was there. I was there with him and our family and stuff, but it was very challenging to be stuck in my home base. Like my family is in Atlanta. And so to be away from my mom, to be away from my stepdad, my dad, my brothers, it was very, very, very challenging. And I almost was trying to figure out where God was in all of that. And so it was a very tough thing for me, which forced me to kind of want to get involved and really understand my spirituality, my faith a whole lot more, which that's how Miracle Monday even started, was that whole thought process.
Tell us about Miracle Monday. I follow you on Instagram. I'm a fan. You are, every time I'm scrolling through, I'm always seeing something powerful or inspirational from your page. Tell us how that got started. So
honestly, I was doing something with an old friend of mine, Leticia, and I remember telling her about, we were doing a show or a thing called What Women Want for a while. We were doing it like every Monday, or I don't even remember what day it was now. But anyway, nonetheless, we were doing it every week. And at the time, I remember told her, I was like, I want to do, like, I put in my stories, like, I really want to do a Bible study. Like, I really want to do something, like, I wonder if anybody's doing like a Bible study online that I can join, because I really want to, like, understand my faith, understand the Bible a lot more, read the Bible more. And she was like, well, you should start one. We should do it together. And I said, well, I don't know if we should start one, because we're both in the same spot. We're trying to learn more. We should have somebody that is, or I want to have somebody that is already very, is proficient in being able to teach me the Bible, if whatever. And so I ended up reaching out to Real Talk Kim, who I was like, would you want to do an online Bible study, Instagram Bible study with me? And she said, yeah. And that's how I knew it was like a God thing. So we basically came up with a time. Is very quick. Tyrese came up with the name, and that's how it started. It was Miracle Monday.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tyrese, recently you guys put out a joint statement stating that you were divorcing, which went viral. How has the public process been for you accepting and dealing with all that comes along with that once you mention that you're divorcing your spouse?
I think it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder in a public space to go through something like that, because especially when your relationship has been public. I think people have a different level of attachment to you with that person, and they have only seen me with that person. And so therefore it's hard. I mean, it makes it a lot harder. Because, it's like, obviously you get involved and updated on things, and it makes it a lot harder to move forward, in each of our respects. It makes it harder to move forward, when you have everybody constantly reminding you of, some of a chapter that you're leaving. So, it's tough. It's tough to do it publicly.
So what do you do, or how are you pushing through right now?
I think it's just, honestly, my faith has been a huge thing. I think that divorce for anybody is tough. I mean, it's hard. It's not, we talk about love, and we talk about, is love lost, or is love not a real concept? You don't necessarily have to leave a relationship in any line, in any realm, whatever you're married, you're dating, whatever. You can leave somebody and still love them. You just can't be in that situation anymore, or you can't be with that person anymore, whatever, where our walks are different. And so I would say that, you really have to lean on I really had to lean on God, and I've really had to lean on my family, my friends, and really just like get poured into, and really like get to base level, ground zero of building myself back up as a woman, and as a mother now, a divorced mother, or a divorcing mother, so it's tough. I mean, but at the same time, I'm getting to know myself in different ways, and I'm having to push myself in different ways that I would have never done in any other point in my life. I've now had to grow as a woman and become much stronger as a mother, as a woman, as like somebody's future wife, whatever that looks like for me, whatever my journey is. I know that God is using all of this for his good. And so it's really has created a lot more fire in me than I had prior to. So yeah.
Isn't that amazing how life works? Things happen, and it looks like it's supposed to be a stumbling block, and it's horrible, but it's a lot of times it's out of that something bursts that's even better.
It's like the thing, I think I was talking about this last night on Miracle Monday, was just like, at the end of the day, there's been so many different things in my life that, like, we can get married to the plans that we create for ourselves. We can get so married to them that we don't allow God to do what he's doing when he made the plan. He made the purpose. He created whatever you have within you. That's what I believe. And so a lot of times we get so caught up in what we thought how things were going to be, how this is going to play out. Why didn't it play out this way? We can get so caught up and confront God about what we thought we should do for ourselves and what we wanted him to do for us. And it's like, he's like, that's not how this works, sis. This ain't how this works. I put you on here for my purpose, and you can get lost in what you want for yourself, or get so lost in what you want for yourself. You get mad at God for not doing what you want him to do. Mm. And that's not how he works. He don't work for.
What advice would you give another woman who may be listening to this right now, who may be in the same shoes as you, in the process of a divorce from a celebrity? What would you say, what kind of advice would you give them to kind of help them push through?
Therapy. Get in a good relationship with a therapist. I see my therapist. I'm very big on being open about my mental health and mental health struggles. I see my therapist every week. She comes to my house, and we do life together, and we've been doing life together for 8 years. So I believe in having a therapeutic relationship. I also believe in being honest with yourself about how you feel. Don't feel like you just gotta be perfect and have everything all together all the time. There's beauty in pain. There's purpose in pain. And so sometimes being transparent and allowing somebody to feel that pain and feel that you being transparent with them actually is healing for them, because Sometimes, somebody else just want to see somebody hurting, or somebody else just want to feel that somebody else is going through what they're going through. On social media, we put on a show.
Yes.
And we act like we have it all together, and that this is like our highlight reel, and that we're always happy, and we always got it. And it's big ego type of environment. And it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to try to figure things out. It's okay. We don't always have to have it together. And so I would give somebody else that advice. And another piece of advice that I would give is that at the end of the day, I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to make the right decision. You just got to make a decision. In everything, you just got to make a decision.
Yes.
Don't put so much pressure on yourself to try to make the right one. Because a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves to get it right and get it right all the time that we end up being stagnant. We end up staying in this position and we're not moving. And in order for us to grow, in order for us to learn, in order for us to move forward in life and take the steps that we need to take, we need to make a decision. Take a stand and make a decision. And so just make a decision.
How do you stay lifted? How do you stay positive?
Yes.
I
mean, you know what? I really try, and I'll be honest with you. I try to stay off of social media in the beginning, I was on it a lot. And it can be very disheartening sometimes, even if it's not even like comments or things towards me directly, but reading you get so engrossed in other people's stuff that sometimes we don't even we're not even focused on our own journey. We going to sleep worrying about somebody else's journey we have never even met before. We don't even know this person. We couldn't pick them out in a lineup for real, with all the filters and stuff. So now, I think that disconnecting from social media is powerful. I think that helps me to kind of stay positive and stay focused on the journey God has me on. I also think my morning routine is what really kind of makes sure my day it started off right. Because if I don't do that morning routine, Sam ain't that great of a person, without that. So I have to start my day a certain way.
Okay, wait. Tell me what's that? What's your morning routine? I want to know.
So the first thing I do in the morning is I meditate. I have an app called Headspace, and I'm on it, and I do that in the morning. Before I even get out the bed, I meditate. Then after I meditate, I do this thing called priming. And this priming is Tony Robbins. It's on YouTube, Tony Robbins priming. And basically you do an arm kind of exercise, and then you visualize a very positive space in your life, but a space or a time in your life that you could be extremely appreciative of, or you can look back and be appreciative of. And then you think of the three things after experiencing that moment, being in that moment, then think about the three things you want to accomplish for the day. So you visualize those things, and it's like a mind kind of activity. After I do that, then I go into my prayer. So I pray. I talk to God every morning, and those prayers, would be 20, 30 minutes of me talking to God as if I'm talking to my best friend, talking to him. It's very, I know that prayer isn't I got to have all the right words to say. I know it's just, I got to just talk. And so it's me calling up my friend and talking in the morning. And then after that, I do my devotional. And those are the four things I do before I get out of the bed. Before I get out of the bed, those are the four things I do.
Every single day?
Every single day.
And how long have you been doing that routine? A while?
Probably since the beginning of this year.
Okay.
So since January, I would say that I've been doing that. That
is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, the morning routine is everything. It does. It sets the tone for the whole day. And I do the same, very similar. But if you don't if I don't set the tone, you look up and you're like, oh, what's going on? And it's too much going on because you didn't set the tone in the morning.
That's right.
It's crucial.
Absolutely. Set your mind and keep it set. You know what I'm saying? And I have to, and I'm an emotional person in general. I'm very emotional. I can allow myself to get lost in a lot of different feelings. And so instead of allowing the enemy to tell me how I'm supposed to feel today, or inundate me about what I'm not doing, what I don't have, who's not acting right, whatever that is that can enter into my mind, I've got to set my mind and keep it set on what God has for me to do that day. versus what anything can be introduced into my mind and get me off track. And then I'm not focused on what I need to.
I want to dive into your YouTube show that's very popular.
Sure.
Called I Was Her. Tell us about that show and define her. Are you her?
Yes. I was her. And that's the name of the show. I Was Her.
Yes.
So I Was Her is actually an Instagram name I had years ago. And I don't know why. That was probably the wisest Instagram name I've ever had in my life. I don't know what I was thinking about at that time, but nonetheless, I Was Her is a show that I decided to do because I love people. I love women. I love uplifting women and empowering women. That's just something that I love to do in general. But I wanted something where I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to put on airs. I'm not trying to act like I'm better than somebody else. I'm just purely giving advice and not like based upon my experiences. I'm not doing the whole, I'm a therapist or I'm coming from a therapeutic standpoint. I'm not. I'm purely coming from, if I was your sister, if I was your friend, this is what I would tell you based upon what I've experienced. And people write in, they ask me questions and I answer them. And I answer them to the best of my ability, as honest as I can be. And that's the show.
That sounds amazing. So I want to wrap up this show with a segment that I'm calling Tell and Tell, which is a play on the word show and tell. What can you tell us about yourself, that something that has deeply impacted you that no one knows about? Somewhat of a secret, maybe your secret to bouncing back, since we talked about that. What's that? What's your secret bouncing back hole? What's that look like?
I think a secret that I have for myself, I definitely buy into the law of attraction. I definitely buy into speaking things into existence. I definitely buy into coaching myself through things. You'll find me talking to myself, praying out loud. I talk myself through a lot of things, be like, okay, Sam, look, you can't be this upset about this. You got to do this. Like, I coach myself through things. I believe in the power of speaking things into existence. If it's in God's will for my life, I speak it into existence. And I just continue to focus my mind on, I try to focus my mind, not on what I see, but what I believe is happening on what I can't see. Even though what I see feels very real and looks very real, I try to believe in what I don't very much believe in what I don't see. I try to visualize what I want to see. I try to visualize how I want the situation to play out and meditate on those things versus focusing on certain situations that just seem very hopeless. I just try to look at it from a standpoint that's not in current reality, because I can get lost in that and it can feel very hopeless. And I would honestly say, listen, you're going through something and you feel like you want to, I know a lot of women that are going through, emotional heartbreaks and things like that. It becomes they don't feel their best. They don't look their best. There's something about looking the best that you possibly can that kind of helps you pull yourself up from the bootstraps and you're focusing on something else versus focusing on the problem. So I'm so focused on getting in the best shape of my life that I'm not necessarily thinking about all the other things that may not be going right in my life that I can't control, but I can control this. So I focus on a lot of my energy, not all of my energy, but a lot of my energy into, eating right, making sure I'm, working out, making sure I'm putting my time in as far as being a mom and being present and being there for my daughter, things that I can control. I try to put all of my energy into those things and not so much energy into things I can't control, because then my mind will spin and I'll have an anxiety attack and that won't be good for nobody. So yeah.
That is beautiful. If someone is out there and they want to follow your journey, they want to be part of your brand, where can they follow you?
So the best way to follow me is Instagram at Love Samantha Lee. I also have a YouTube channel, Samantha Lee Gibson. So, youtube.com/C/Samantha Lee Gibson. I have a Patreon account that I now do, it's a women's support group that I do, on a very consistent basis. I'm interfacing with them on an almost tri-weekly basis, called Power Up. It's a women group that I do, women's support group that I host and mediate, I guess you could say. And so Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, you can follow me, Samantha Lee Gibson. You can Google me. But the best way to find and I got a fitness program, Be Your Body Goals. But the best way to get to all of those things is to follow me on my social media, my Instagram at Love Samantha Lee.
All right. Well, we're going to follow you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. This conversation was amazing, and you're amazing. I really appreciate it. Well, that is it for this episode of the Journey Told show. I always want to leave you with a takeaway and with some positive words. And today's words is going to be something from my father, words that he's often told me. And that is to remember to be the best you that you can be. Let that sizzle in your spirit. Until next time, folks.